such an asshole!
America's older brother, the Dark Knight of advice columns, and the world's only professional asshole, all wrapped up into one formerly thought to be Irish skinny guy, turns out to be Scandinavian Spaniard. At assholeconsulting.com. How you guys doing? You have lived in Minnesota the majority of your life, and there may be something you can help me with. All my family is from Iowa. I am ethnically Danish, and it seems the Scandinavians are compulsively liberal. Yes, to a fault. And at times to their own detriment. Sweden has been declared, I believe, by its own political elite to be a humanitarian superpower. Not for long. And in the last couple of years has permitted literally hundreds of thousands of unemployed refugees into the country from North Africa and the Middle East. In recent months, the Swedish federal government has distributed civil defense literature to millions of households because that same political elite is considering a domestic military deployment to hundreds of no-go zones where these unintegrated refugees have defeated the police departments and terrified long-term residents. I hate to say it. I'm against Sweden. Because they're not being real. You're living a lie. I don't care if you're quote Western civilization. I can't think of anything I despise more than people that hate themselves, that have no self-respect, not arrogance, just the lack of self-respect. And I hope they're beat. I hope Malmo throws away what's the Swedish military? What are they? God. But yes, that's what's happening. On a similar note, Iceland has recently legalized equal pay. This is without consideration of the fact that men choose to major in more math-intense subjects with higher starting salaries, stay more consistently in the workforce, and are more willing to work overtime, are more willing to work in geographically remote areas, are more willing to be on call, and more willing to work undesirable shifts, are overwhelmingly workplace dads, frequently choose to earn more money so as to court women for marriage, and that wives disproportionately controls consumer spending. So what's this legalized equal pay? Is it like equal pay for equal work? Like, how are they going to force it? Like, if Sven goes running off to the volcano that's active to go mine for widgets or whatever Iceland does, and Wifey Poo is sent home and doing some internet phone service, does she get equal pay? I'm trying to figure out, how do you legalize that? Because if a guy's doing all that, I'm just thinking logically, how does the government create a law that just, everyone's paid the exact same no matter what? Hang on, Iceland, let's look this up. Time. What year was this? 20. New rules stipulate that all companies and government agencies employing at least 25 people have to obtain government certification of their equal pay policies. Employers will face fine if they are in violation. The current pay gap in Iceland is 14 to 18. The government reportedly plans to eradicate it by 22. Oh, thanks, Time. You didn't go into any details. Companies, government, they go through a certification. Evaluated jump that's being done, and then they get a certification after they confirm the process if they're paying men and women equally. So it's up to the government to come in. There's some government agents to see whether you're getting paid. That just sounds like hell. It just sounds like hell. None of this has been taken into consideration with the mandate for businesses having to document equivalent amounts of compensation spent on male and female employees. Oh my God, can you imagine the compliance costs with this? You know, some government, so you just want to run your daytime job, and in comes this government busy. But I remember working in banking. The last place I worked, my God, the government, I was spending 50% of my time. 50% of my pay was going to government compliance. Of course, now this bank deserved it. The bank deserved to have the government's cock up its ass that far because the bank was that mismanaged. But yeah, I can't. Boy. Well, I'm glad you guys voted for it in Iceland. And male-oriented adult establishments in Iceland are recently criminalized, and a recent Icelandic prime minister was a lesbian. I'm not against that. Now, of course, her politics may have forced that, but I think it's about this type of demoralizing reality. I realize that I am on the same road grid that connects my hometown with Belize in Central America. How do I enjoy the decline with such overwhelming stupidity going on? Well, read the book, Enjoy the Decline. That'd be the first one. But look, here, probably the biggest thing, the Serenity Prayer or the Alcoholic's Prayer, whatever you want to call it. Grant me the wisdom, no, what was it? Allow me the wisdom to acknowledge what I do and do not control, and the wisdom to tell the difference or something like that. There are things you don't control. A lot of things you don't control. That girl ain't going to go out with you. You're not going to get into Harvard. The truck that's going to jump the curb and flatten you out. And how other people vote. Right? Now, you can vote your way, vote however you want, do what you say, write some posts on the internet, argue with your friends, convince some people, make some good arguments. But in the end, if the majority of people in a democracy wish to go down the path of socialism, or in this case, an Orwellian nightmare, and feminism, well, okay, you can't do anything about it because it's not up to your control. Now, you can fight that, you get pissed off about it, you can get angry, or you can say, I don't control that, and therefore it's out of my mind. I mean, hell, this is why I stopped watching the news, because I don't control it. I don't influence it. If anything, I mock and ridicule and deride it and profit off of it. So what you got to do is stop trying to stop this immovable object and say, all right, this object is moving. How do I, one, protect myself, and where do I position myself? But then two, is there an opportunity to make money here? Now, I've said this before. You know, the old captain is getting to the point where it's good now. It's good now. I make money selling truth. It's great business. Wonderful. But if I catch flack or lip or guff or, you know, okay, the social justice warriors shut you down, or oh, well, Aaron Clary, you know, you can't, you were on the YouTubes and we're, you know, whatever. I'm switching to selling lies. Now, here you have a lie. Okay? Two lies. In Sweden, it's all, oh, people are the exact same. They're interchangeable. There's no cultural differences whatsoever. Now they got to send in the army. Now they got to actually, ironically and sadly, likely kill a couple of these people and ship them back. And now they're going to hate the Swedes, even though the Swedes helped them out. In Iceland, okay, obviously there's a huge feminist agenda. Men are not, their desires, their wants or needs are not considered at all. And the realities of running a business are not considered. And who works for what, and because of inherent differences between men and women. Oh my God, you know. Should I be upset that black men make better basketball players than whites? Like, no, they're better basketball players than whites. Should you be upset that men make more? No, they actually produce more economic stuff. I know that's horrible to say, but it's true. It's never dawned on people. It's not sexism. It's just guys work more. And we work in STEM. That's why we make more. How do you capitalize on it? It's obvious society in both these countries, and to a certain extent here in the United States, and other countries as well, it's obvious people want to be lied to. It's obvious that they want this no matter what. Now, how do you make money off it? How do you take lemons and make lemonade out of it? Now, so you have the psychological disengagement. You say, okay, I don't control that. I'm not going to worry about it. That's going to improve your health, mental health right off the bat. You position yourself so you're not going to get swapped up in this. So like, if I ran a business with 26 people, I'd fire 2 of them right off the bat. Bye. See ya. You know, don't get into the laws. Don't participate in this and that. And then also, is there a way for you to capitalize on it? Like if you're unknown, like right now, if I were to give advice to somebody that doesn't have any social media, nobody knows his or her politics, I'd lie my ass off. I would go and just lie and tell people what they wanted to hear, and I'd get involved in leftist politics, and, you know, I'd be like an accountant or something like that, have a real job making money coming in, but then I get involved in politics and using my intelligence, which, you know, hardworking private sector people have way more intelligence than your average Democrat, you know, professional politician or activist. And I would spew the most wonderful and tasty of treats of lies to get elected as a politician. And then like, you want to become Trudeau, except smart. and like you actually have like a little bit of intelligence and not your daddy's money. All right, like you could tell a better lie than Trudeau. You could tickle the women's fancies. Lie. Tell them what they want to hear. I'm gonna get extra pay. We're gonna get reparations pay. Women will get extra reparations pay on top of it. Oh. You're gonna give you free health care and free birth control and free this. Oh. Lie. You know, you can't beat them. Join them. But then other things that, you could do, all right, if it's that bad, you want to connect my hometown with Belize. All right, you want to go to Belize. Belize is, they speak English down there. Not as safe as Iowa, but not as boring. Andrew Hendrickson, nomadcapitalist.com. Check him out. There's other places you can go. You can escape. You can leave. But the biggest hurdle that you're going to face is, how do I enjoy the climate with such overwhelming stupidity going on? Well, you acknowledge that the overwhelming stupidity is going on, and that's not going to change. And then you move on with it. I say, okay, what can I do? What can I enjoy? Like, look, I know some people, all they do is watch Fox News and CNN. I went and built a snow tunnel with my niece yesterday. 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Built a snow tunnel with my niece. Then I took her to the toy store. Then I dropped her. Then I went back to the toy store because I want to get some cool stuff because she had to go to the bathroom so many times. I'm like, okay, that's it. We're dropping you off. Here's your toy. Yeah, love you too. And I'm like, okay. I bought a rocket. I'm going to launch rockets. Ride the motor. I mean, you've read the book, I'm presuming, if you're quoting it. But yeah, you just gotta, that's what you let go. And here's another thing that I found increasingly so, is the people who lie to themselves. Like, for example, this is sad, but let's take a look at it. Take a look at Detroit, or is it Compton? Yeah, straight out of Compton. Baltimore. Take a look at the plight of the black community. Not the black community, but the poor black community, which everyone assumes is the same thing. But there are successful black people out there, and they don't like their taxes. But take the ghetto, the poor black community in the inner city. Are they happy? Are they successful? Are they living life? Or are they miserable? Are they delusional? I mean, ask, would you want to live in Iowa or Belize? Or would you want to live in the ghettos of Detroit? And no matter how much you may disagree with the government policies, state, local, and federal, that resulted in Detroit, you may not like the fact that people in Detroit blame you because of the color of your skin for their poverty. In the end, you're living in the truth and reality, and they're living in a lie. And it's evidence how they just, oh my God, you want to talk about the modern day slave plantation, how the Democrats get blacks to vote for them, to the worst detriment of their success, to just the worst outcomes. Baltimore, D.C., Detroit, Compton, vote more black Democrats in. And the cost of what happens? You have poverty. And I always wanted to add, I just kind of wondering what it's like. Like, okay, you voted Democrat for the past 60 years, and you got the worst standards of living. When do you wake up? Is it the ego and the pride and the connection? Like, you can't acknowledge that it's, well, you had 3 kids out of wedlock, 4 by another guy, and you didn't go become an accountant or a mechanic? And you're going to blame, it's Whitey. Yeah, it's Bob's fault in Iowa that you got knocked up and contracted syphilis. Yeah, it's Bob's fault. But the point I'm trying to make is the delusion and the pain of your quote-unquote enemies. Another example, feminists. No doubt you hate feminism. It has ruined the most important thing in life for both men and women, and that is each other. We now have effeminate pussy men. I wouldn't even say masculine. You just got ugly, non-feminine, non-supporting, just like the concept of even dating or marriage or courtship is beyond that. It's all career. It's just a gap, a divide. Have you seen how happy and successful a lot of these feminists are? I mean, okay, here's you want to do here's a little exercise, a little bit of homework you can do. Go online, go to Exo Jane, Slate, or Salon. Or go to women's studies, search women's studies. Find some genuine feminists. And then look at them. Look at them physically. They're usually not attractive. Look at the number of Twitter followers they have. They're usually not... If you don't have as many Twitter followers as me, like, I'm not a big social media guy. I have some. But if you are a professional writer for a salon or an institution, or you are a professor, you think you'd have a little bit more prominence or clout, especially in the world of writing or academic research, stuff like that. These people don't even come close to me half the time. And and what you'll realize is that you look through the resume. Resume is another thing. Look at the resume. They're jumping from one job to the next. They're working at 7 different places. The reason they got to work at 7 different places is because they're not even getting paid half the time. I think it was the Huffington Post, or was it XO Jane? A girl wrote an article about how excited she was that XO Jane published her article she submitted. I'm like, you just gave them free labor. You didn't get paid. So when you look at the lack of money, the Guardian article about adjunct professors, not necessarily feminist professors, but adjunct in general, resorting to prostitution and living in cars because they can't afford it. They're miserable. They're ugly. I'm talking the 60s feminists who now are in their 70s. It's over. They wasted their lives. They're miserable. And I'm not saying it because I like the idea of them being miserable. I want vengeance. I want my pound of flesh. It's not that. There is that there too. But it puts a smile on your face because socialism, in whatever variant form it may be, environmentalism, diversity, feminism, rank theft of other people's and the producer's money, does not work. It doesn't work. And the people who participate and believe in the lies live miserable lives. Be you a poor, delusional black kid in the ghetto who believes everything is whitey's fault. Be you a delusional, man-hating feminist who believes everything is man's fault. Be you, a pussified beta male over in Iceland who just kowtows to whatever the feminists want. And now what? There's no titty bars in Iceland anymore. And now Sweden, where people are... I know this sounds horrible. I love it when I hear about some social justice warrior, some refugee worker, some girl's going to go help out, and then they get raped and killed. It's like... I can't... You almost want to cheer on the Hondurans. I saw, what was it, the great one? He was talking about a gal. The Guardian, he's quoting an article from The Guardian about how environmentalism was sexist. Or was it racist? I can't remember. I think it was racist against minority women because a disproportionate number of them were getting killed working for the environment in foreign countries. And then they cited a couple girls that got murdered. And guess what? It wasn't in Iowa. It wasn't by Sven. But then you gotta cheer out like, yeah, you know what? Here's another thing. Again, enjoy the misery of others. Enjoy the misery of leftists. The world sees this. China and other people, they hate the white left. It's called the white left. They look at these pussies, these total spoiled pussies, and they hate them because they're just so spoiled and they don't work for a living. It's a different mindset. It takes you to switch your mind. But that's what you got to do. You got to accept what reality is, look at it, change your strategy and actions and behaviors so it's anchored in it, and you will be more successful than these people. I mean, certainly don't pursue wealth. I mean, yes, if this stuff happens, the more socialism that people want to heap on us, the less you work, the more you pursue leisure. Right? Go collect the government check. It's in the chapter in Enjoy the Decline. It's called pillage. But otherwise, just to give you some vindication, to show you're right. I mean, look at the millennials who thought they were so fucking smart. And they all majored in the liberal arts. And they followed the hard money and they got masters. They're debt-ridden. Their lives are ruined. Their entire hope and value of life was outside of their control. Think about this. Think about how mentally taxing and destructive this is. Their hope was that Bernie Sanders would come in and forgive their student loans. That was their pinnacle. You know, the biggest thing in my life right now is like, God, I got to find a club to join. That's like the biggest problem I have because I didn't fuck up. And he didn't take $150,000 for masters in arts and creative writing. These people did, and that's their lives. They are in hell. So yes, it sucks that they're going to do it, and yes, it sucks, and yes, it sucks, and yes, it sucks. But try to get to maybe my level where you enjoy other people's misery, and you're almost cheering the Muslims on, simply because they're honest. They're not the dipshits. My contempt for my fellow American, I don't mean conservative or libertarian people actually work, but the people, another example. The terrorist attacks that happen in Europe, even here in the United States, I guess, do you think, this sounds horrible, but they're not bumping off Farmer Jacques out in the prairie of France with his rifle. They're not bumping off Bubba Bob in Texas with his AR-15. They're mowing down effete, typically liberal, typically leftist people with trucks in downtown major metro areas. The people that voted it in. It's kind of, guess I'll get another cup of coffee. It's almost like a movie and a show. And that's kind of maybe another way to get further removed and decoupled from reality. I almost watch it like a movie. Because I don't control it. It's the world's greatest show. It's life. And you get to watch all of its actors. And you can try and participate and be a fool. Go and protest. All those idiots that went down to Charlotte. And just protesting in general is stupid. You could go stand on an interstate and shut it down. Right? And get hit by a truck. Or you could just watch the show. You can watch the show. And then another thing. They may be apolitical, but I have an increasing amount of disdain for normies and conformies. Oh, the highway was shut down by Black Lives Matter. Well, did you vote this leftist shit in, you fucking goddamn commuting sheep? Well, you should sit on the road then for a little bit. Maybe you sit and think about the political ramifications of sucking Mark Dayton's dick the entire... He's our governor, leftist idiot. And you just watch. You watch the world be the circus. And you enjoy the decline. That's what you do. Alright, that's it. You guys got questions? Captain's got answers. ASOconsulting.com. I gotta bang out more stuff. I've been going way too long on this stuff. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.